Recording live from the Northeast Georgia Business RadioX studio. This is Northeast Georgia Business Radio. Welcome back, folks. Welcome back to another edition of Northeast Georgia Business Radio. I'm your host, Tom Sheldon. We are coming to you live from the beautiful Empower College and Career Center of Jackson County. I would say I have an extra special guest with me, and you all know what that means here in a second. I have from Extra Special People, Laura Hope Whitaker. Laura, welcome to the Northeast studio.
Glad to be here.
How are you?
Glad to be inside.
I know it's a little stormy out there.
It is a little stormy out there. We made it through, though. Happy to be here.
You know, if you hadn't, I would feel really, really bad being you're come to see me. I mean, wow, that's a lot of pressure on a person.
It is a lot of pressure. This is going to be good. We're going to have some fun.
Oh, I guarantee you we're going to have fun. Guarantee you. Extra Special People. Tell me a little bit about ESP.
Yeah, so we exist to create transformative experiences for people with disabilities and their families. And we believe that not only changes the lives of our participants and our families, but it changes a community for the better. What that means is we essentially do our mission in three ways. We have after-school programs. We've got family support. So if you have a child with autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, you name it, we're providing support to you every day in a myriad of ways. Gotcha. We do summer camps. So our Hooray Summer Camp programming is happening right now as we speak. So we have 150 kids throughout the Northeast Georgia area that show up at our building in Watkinsville and get a typical camp experience, regardless of what their disability or, as we say, ability is. And then Java Joy is our third program, which is our employment program that employs adults with disabilities. And our mobile coffee cart goes around the Northeast Georgia area and serves businesses and organizations and provides employment for adults with disabilities.
Nice. Now, you are the CEO of Extra Special People.
Depends on who's asking.
ESP.
Yeah.
Oh, who do we need to ask? Nice. This podcast just went in a whole different direction. Folks.
Right.
But you are CEO.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about Laura Hope Whitaker. What got you to this point?
Yeah.
Now you may have to change names and locations to protect the innocent and the not so innocent. I'm good with that.
Right. Well, you know, my story is pretty untraditional. I started with the organization when I was 18 years old.
So you've only been doing it 3 years.
Only 3 years.
Wow.
I look
so much 21. In 3 years.
I know. I can't believe it.
Sell it, hey.
I, like thousands of college students, went from Atlanta, the Marietta area, down Highway 316 to go to the University of Georgia. Mm-hmm. And I started volunteering at ESP as a college student. I actually heard about ESP from my ex-boyfriend. His sister told me about it. It was truly the only good contribution that he made to our relationship was introducing me to...
Everything happens for a reason.
Everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. And so he introduced me to ESP. I walked in, fell in love as a college student, just like thousands of college students do these days. Fell in love with like just the ability to love people and the difference that the organization was making. Not necessarily our buildings weren't amazing at the time, but it was the people and it was the programs, and it was an honor to be a part of it. So started volunteering, and our founder, Martha Wiley, who founded the organization in 1986, was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer that following year. And through a sequence of events, when I was 19 and then almost 20 years old, I was finishing my sophomore year of college at UGA, and had the opportunity to step in as the camp director. Martha was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, passed away within a couple months, and that gave me an opportunity to step up. There was no one else, by the way. They interviewed me, and there was no other candidates.
I think you wowed them.
It was not that. I can guarantee you.
I would go with you wowed them.
I don't know about that. However, I say sometimes you choose your job and other times it chooses you. And
that's true.
Definitely had an opportunity that I couldn't, and I finished my sophomore year of college.
Nice.
And continued to move on and get my undergraduate and graduate degree while I was running ESP. And here I am raising 3 of my own children in the Athens area and having the opportunity to watch it grow. So we were serving about 60 participants at the time and their families. I think it was a presentation I did on Friday, we serve 1,031 participants.
Wow.
Today.
In Northeast Georgia.
Are there
Are there multiple? There's multiple locations.
There is multiple.
You don't have
locations.
1,000 kids in one spot.
We don't serve them all at one time. That is
Okay,
correct.
okay,
That
okay.
is correct. But we
Okay.
have grown the organization. We now have a site in Marietta,
Right.
and we have an additional site in Rome, Georgia. And
Gotcha.
we're continuing to grow. You know, we have families that move to the Athens or Northeast Georgia area every year after they experience ESP. If you have a child with a tracheotomy or a G-tube or a seizure disorder, there's not a whole lot of opportunities for them to live a really fulfilled life. And a lot of families hear about ESP, they travel in from Columbus or Florida, and they experience ESP, and then they're like, that's it.
We're staying.
We're staying.
Nice.
Selling the house, forget all the family. We're moving to Athens, Georgia. And what's beautiful is we have families who've never been on date nights, never been on vacation. And they come to ESP, and there's this pool of thousands of college students who've been trained to work with their kids, and they have the opportunity to go on a date every week if they want
Give
to.
mom and dad a break.
Yes, which is huge.
Can be, really needed, I'm sure, at different times.
Absolutely. I mean,
Wow, that's
yeah,
good.
yeah,
So when you say you're working with the family, you mean it.
we mean it. Yeah,
You're not
everything.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, everything from respite to counseling to family programs where they get to meet each other. We have a program called ESP Play where every Friday morning our 0 to 4-year-olds come in for music therapy. And it's a partnership with the University of Georgia. We have a music therapist on staff. And it's beautiful because these parents, you know, they have children diagnosed with disabilities, some of them in the womb, some of them afterwards. And you kind of lose your friend group oftentimes. Your friends don't know what to do, how to relate. And then you come to ESP and these families, we have these 3 families, all of them have daughters with Down syndrome. And they met at our ESP Play program. And now they are best friends. They travel together.
Nice.
They experience life together. They can understand one another and what they're going through. And it's just, that's connecting the unconnected is what we're all about.
Creating a support group, more or less.
That's right.
Imagine when you have a child with disabilities, when you have a child in general, that at times becomes your world.
Yes,
I imagine it's multiplied when you have a child with disabilities.
absolutely. And the lack of care really is a challenge, but really everywhere our families go, they have to advocate for their child. You know, their child can't physically get into a space, or if you have a child with autism, you know, from a sensory perspective, it's too loud. Then all of a sudden they come to ESP and it's like, we were created for them.
Right.
They don't have to advocate for their child.
Right.
The playground on our property, by the way, best playground in Northeast Georgia,
Nice.
is in the back of
Keep
Watkinsville.
the adults off of it.
I get on it every once in a while.
Okay, we won't tell anyone.
But I'll tell you, there's an awesome zip line on that, and it's open to the public, and it's beautiful because you have kids with and without disabilities playing together, but with accessibility in mind. It's universally designed so that every kid of every ability has the opportunity to play with one another, and ESP is a place where we have our families in mind at the very beginning.
Kind of sounds like you're changing the community a little bit.
That's what we hope. So
I imagine that's going to be better in the long run.
I hope so. Yeah, it's, you know, I always say like the after the comma part of our mission statement, which is changing communities for the better.
So what does a community look like without ESP?
Man, that's a great question.
That's a hard question.
It's a hard question. And, you know, we see it all the time because these families are moving to our community. You know, Rome is a great example. When we started going to Rome, it was really interesting because we had these families who all knew each other, but many of them didn't know that they had children with disabilities. And it was like this hidden kind of secret in the community. And, you know, we as a world are evolving from a diversity perspective, but it is challenging to not only own the fact that your child is different and not meeting the milestones that other children, they can't go to the private school, they can't do all of these things. And what we were noticing in Rome is that the awareness just in general was totally different than it was in Athens. And as we have lived out our programs the last 2.5 years in Rome, it's been amazing to watch families come together, to watch the private schools book Java Joy. They just hosted this big event in Rome called Big Hoops, and the community showed out. There was over 2,000 people there, and the awareness in general about people with disabilities and how to interact with them is a part of what ESP is doing. The second part of it is allowing these high school and college kids who are typical come and volunteer, and they are changed for the better through their volunteer experience. Right. And so it's been really beautiful to watch a community embrace people with developmental disabilities through the megaphone of ESP and allowing that opportunity.
Let's talk about volunteers. You brought up volunteers. What's an ideal volunteer? Someone just willing to give? You put them through training. It's a volunteer.
Yeah. So we have two different types of volunteers. We've got one type that wants to work one-on-one with a participant. So right now we have everything from 12-year-olds at ESP all the way up, you name it, in terms of age, working directly with our participants. Now I'll say, here I am. I'm not going to say how old I am, but it's been...
Well, we established 21, I believe.
Right.
We did.
Right. And it's been 19 years since I've been at ESP, so you can kind of do the math.
I'm a radio host. I don't do math.
You don't do math.
I don't do
Perfect.
math. Yes.
We work well together.
Yes, we do.
I'm not the 19-year-old I once was. I can't jump. I don't have the physical endurance that I used to when I was 19. So I would say those that are working with our participants, the heartbeat of ESP, there's energy and it's exciting and it's beautiful. If you don't have that energy, we have a place for you. And for example, my mom was at ESP this morning making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Nice.
And so we have a peanut butter and jelly program. We've got a snack squad. We have people who come deliver popsicles. We have all types of opportunities for adults as it relates to special events and things that we do. So two different types of volunteers, but we really have a place for everyone.
Laura, what you're doing, it sounds really great. It's also great to have community partners. And one of our greatest community partners, Bottom Line Tax Solutions. Jacqueline and her team at Bottom Line consistently save their clients money in taxes. So ask yourself, are you paying too much in taxes? You probably are. Bottom Line specializes in the 3 P's of income tax: tax preparation, tax planning, and tax problem solving. Visit bottomlinega.com today. And while you're at it, visit our new website, negabrx.com, to see all our new great community partners. Laura, are you still there?
I'm here.
Awesome. Got to pay the bills.
Got to pay the bills. I feel that.
And
I need to check out Bottom Line Tax Solutions.
I tell you, I brag about them, not just because they're a community partner. They're awesome. I'm very close to the owner.
Sold me.
Really?
For real.
I will get you in touch with them. So what were we talking about, though?
Well, we talked a little bit about volunteers.
Changing the community. Changing
Changing the community.
Getting volunteers. You said there were 2 kinds of volunteers. Mm-hmm. Did we cover both kinds?
I think we did. The adult volunteer that wants to
volunteer.
do the peanut butter and jellies.
Your mom making sandwiches.
Yep.
Because she's awesome.
Because she is awesome.
This area is growing. Northeast Georgia is growing. Jackson County, the surrounding area. What's that going to do to y'all in the next 5 years?
Well, I'm excited about this area growing, and I'll tell you why. ESP owns a 90-acre tract in Jackson County.
Camp Hooray?
Camp Hooray.
I've been there.
You have.
I have.
And our hope is to phase 1 of Hooray will be similar to a duplication of what we have in Watkinsville. And believe it or not, despite our growth out there, we have a wait list again.
Nice.
And so because of that wait list, we need more space. And so phase 1 of Hooray will be right down on New Kings Bridge Road. We're utilizing the flat piece of the property. We'll build a gym, a pool, a playground, a field, and be able to duplicate our everyday programs, after-school programs, summer camp programs, family support with phase 1 of Hooray until we're able to build out the full camp property where we'll have cabins. Individuals with disabilities will be able to sleep on the top bunk, even if they're in a wheelchair. And we have some really neat plans for this area. So the growth of Jackson County is exciting for us because we're hoping there's some community partners out there, businesses, organizations, locals who believe in our mission, believe in people with disabilities, believe they deserve to have a place, and will help us grow that property.
I was begging the powers that be at Camp Hooray for me to just have a little corner up above the lake.
Yeah.
I just built a little cabin up there.
Yeah.
You'd never see me. I would never leave. It's that beautiful.
It's gorgeous out there.
I begged them. They said no.
Well,
I'm just saying.
You can go stay for a night if you want. I think I could work that out.
I tell you, it's beautiful up there.
There's a lot of fish out there, too.
Is there really?
Yeah.
Well, see, I could do that, too. But no, it seriously is gorgeous.
It feels like if you go from Athens to Hooray, it's 15 minutes. It feels like you're...
Yeah, it's 15 minutes from here.
In the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is.
It feels like camp.
I heard banjos. It was crazy.
That's right.
I'm kidding. I didn't hear any banjos. The need is there, though. the need is already there.
Oh, it's tremendous. And the more
In
this
other words, you
area
could build 3 or
grows,
4 of these over the next couple years.
we could. And the more this area grows, the truth is there's going to be more individuals with disabilities who need to benefit from ESP. So not only will the growth help support us, but we are looking to support the community that we're in.
So the future is question mark. The future for ESP is fill in the blank. What is it?
The future of ESP is continuing to change more communities for the better.
More locations?
More locations, yep.
Bigger, better?
Yeah, I think so. And, one of the cool things about Hooray and this area is that eventually when the property is fully built out, you'll have kids coming from Rome, Georgia to go to Camp Hooray. You'll have kids from Atlanta coming to Camp Hooray, which is going to be great for this community. We're going to need some more hotels and some more restaurants and some more. But there's going to be people from all over. There's already people from all over that go to Watkinsville. Imagine when we have an overnight camp, there's going to be people who come not only from all over the state, but from all over the country to experience Hooray. So yeah, more communities. The more communities we build, the more we're going to need support for an overnight camp. So
nice.
Yeah.
The camp going on right now, is that overnight?
That is a day camp that's
It is
going on
day
right
camp.
now. Mm-hmm.
So mom and dad or someone brings the camper in and picks them up at the end of the day.
That's right. And we do a lot of shuttling too. Transportation is one of the biggest challenges that our families deal with.
I bet.
And so we do have several shuttles. There's some school systems that bus in to ESP.
That's nice.
And then we've got a
nice.
parking lot parade that happens every morning. If you've never been to ESP and you live in the Northeast Georgia area, I highly encourage you to come on a Friday. So we do a thing in the summer called Friend Friday, and we invite the community to come out, and you can watch our parking lot parade, which is called Welcome Wagon, and you have the opportunity to watch our flag ceremony, and that runs from 8:30 to 10 at ESP in Watkinsville. It's the best morning that you will have. You'll get a good cup of Java Joy coffee and be uplifted and inspired, particularly to see the interaction between college students and our participants. It'll restore any hope that you need to be restored in the next generation leaders that we have.
Bill, hey, raise them right?
That's right.
I'm with you on that.
Well, a lot of these individuals, these college students have grown up in tremendous privilege, as did many of us. And so being around...
We have no idea what
you have no idea.
Other side.
You don't know until you know,
Right.
we call it at ESP, we call it shoes and clues. It's like paying attention to the needs of our families. And oftentimes you can tell a lot about people with their shoes and their clues of the shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very eye-opening for a lot of these college kids who have never experienced what would it look like if my sister or brother had significant autism and my parent had to be home every day when the bus came home, couldn't work, couldn't go out, and it was challenging to go out in public, was challenging to go to the grocery store, was challenging to travel as a family, individual in a wheelchair, challenging to get anywhere physically. All of those things are being taught. These college students are starting to realize like what it is like on the other side of the street. And it's beautiful because they have the opportunity to then, these aren't just education students. Some of them are, but some of them are Terry College of Business. Some of them are ag majors. Some of them are pre-law doctors. And they become much more empathetic, compassionate, universal, accessible humans post-college. And it's pretty cool to watch that happen.
That's very cool. How do you attract your volunteers?
It
doesn't sound like it's a struggle. It sounds like you got all kinds of them.
Well, what's neat is that, people kind of replace each other. And I think if they have a really great experience and they get a lot out of it, then they're going to tell people that they know. And so if we're doing our job well and we're training them and we're giving them the resources and it's a fun place to be and they're having a great time, but they're also learning a lot, then word of mouth helps us a lot.
I imagine. So
Yeah.
you put the volunteers through some type of training?
We do.
A little shakedown, for lack of a better term?
Yeah, absolutely.
Background checks?
You've got it.
Nice. So you just don't turn them loose and say, go, have at it.
We can't afford to. Our population...
It would take one wrong person.
One wrong person, yep. And so...
30-something years of work would be...
That's right.
Gone.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, I'm with you on that.
Our participants deserve that type of dignity and respect for us to do our due diligence, yeah.
I'm with you. All right. Laura, what did we miss?
Man, we covered a lot.
Well, I know you're a very busy lady, and you have a schedule.
I do.
So we got to get in. We got to give the good stuff right up front.
That's right. I think we covered a lot.
We did.
What do you want to know?
I want to know when I can hang out at Camp Hooray because it's just that cool.
Come on.
You have an affiliation, or Camp Hooray has an affiliation, or of Alumni Cookie Dough?
Yes.
Yes. Mike and Jennifer were in here 2 months ago.
Okay. Yeah.
Like that.
They have been so good to us.
They're very amazing.
We have a flavor. We have a cookie dough flavor called Dough Much Joy. And Java Joy sells that at the Piedmont Oconee campus. We're out there with our training center. We are soon to sell it at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. We have a cart at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Nice.
It is the most delicious cookie dough that you will ever taste. It's got like sea salt and mocha and chips, and it's just like it has everything that you want.
So you're coming in next week to another episode
and bringing some cookie.
Bring
I totally should bring you some cookie dough. Yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah, but they've been great. Jennifer was a special ed teacher.
Yes.
And then employed some of our participants at Alumni, and then has worked with us ever since. So,
when I was at Camp Hooray, 2 months ago, end of April, I was blessed with a thing of alumni cookie dough.
And it was good, wasn't it?
It didn't last long.
Mm-mm. Nope, it won't.
It was considerably way too small. It was awesome.
Right. Well, you can just drive about 20 minutes and go to Alumni Cookie Dough yourself.
Where they're at. Believe me, I know where they're at. Never pass up an opportunity. Laura, thank you for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
I do know you're busy, so I do appreciate that. And to your assistant who has sat here the whole time, we got to give Amy a shout out.
Shout out to the amazing Amy.
And folks, Amy is so amazing. It was storming when the ladies pulled up.
Yep.
She pulled up to the front walk, let Laura out, then parked the vehicle, and got drenched on the way in.
She's the best of the best.
So if we had a Business RadioX towel, we would give her like 4 or 5 of them, but we don't. So, but Amy, thank you for being here as well today. She's nodding. Laura, good job.
Thanks. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
No, you're always welcome.
Hey, and I'd say
it's okay. They play my music on me. They just kick it in like that. It makes me wrap up.
Oh.
It's okay. Your mic's still on, so don't say anything horrible.
I was just going to say, check us out on Instagram and espyoundme.org.
Perfect. I'm Tom Sheldon. That was Laura. We'll talk to you soon.